Hello and welcome to another video showing you how to make the most of using Fantasy Grounds with the Savage Worlds rule set. Today I will be covering how to create a custom adventure deck for use with the Adventure Deck extension. I will be using the Savage Worlds Adventurers Edition rule set, but the following steps will work just as well with the Savage Worlds Deluxe rule set. The first thing you will need to do is extract the My Custom Adventure Deck folder from the extension file. The extension file will be located in your Fantasy Grounds data directory. If you are unsure on how to find your Fantasy Grounds data directory, if you start Fantasy Grounds and click on this icon here, it will open an Explorer window that will take you straight to your data folder. From here, we will navigate to the extensions folder. And from here, you need to find the adventuredeck.ext file. I have associated .ext files with WinZip to make it easier for me to open and extract files from them, but you can equally easily open this file in any other extraction tool. So once we open the adventure deck, then all we need to find is the My Custom Adventure Deck folder, and from there we will basically extract that file to somewhere safe. Well, I'm going to pop it into the temp folder. We don't need the zip file anymore, and from there all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the file out of there and I'm going to place it in my extensions folder, like so. And then we can open up that folder. When you open the My Custom Adventure Deck folder, you should find 4 files. The README file defines the file name convention and the size of the graphics you should be using. The adventuredeck.lua file is where you will define card sets and adventure decks to be registered and added to the Fantasy Grounds. The extension.xml file defines the name of the extension that is shown in the Fantasy Grounds extension list. The final file is the graphics.xml file. This is where you will define the graphics that will be used for each card in your decks. For my example, I'm going to create a custom deck for 50 Fathoms game. The cards and graphics were created from the excellent resources on Grey Wolf's Bonepole site. The links will be included in the description. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to call it graphics, and inside graphics I'm going to create another folder. I'm going to call it cards, and this is where I'm going to place all my card graphics. The readme.txt file designates the card names and the file sizes you should be using in your cards folder for your graphics. So it should be cardname.jpg at 149 by 208 pixels, cardname_drag.jpg, which is at 54 by 75 pixels. So you can see here every single card has 2 files. So we're going to go back up, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to edit the graphics.xml file, and we're going to define each card. So as you can see here, there's an example which shows that the icon name is card name and the file location points to graphics cards cardname.jpg, and then the card name.drag file points to graphics file cardname_drag.jpg. Now what I'm going to do is I prepared this code earlier, so I'm just going to copy it in now. So I've added in all the entries for the cards. You can see here Albatross Luck's been put in, graphics cards Albatross Luck, and Albatross Luck -drag, graphics cards Albatross Luck _drag. Now we have the graphics sorted for the cards, we need to create the card sets and the adventure decks, and we will do that in the adventuredeck.lua. So we'll edit the adventuredeck.lua. A card set is where you will define the individual entries for each card. So you'll give the card a name. You will then have the name that's displayed when the card is selected, the effect, which is the description of the card, and then image will point back to the card name you defined in the graphics file. You can have multiple card sets in the same extension, and if you want to add the same card to more than one set, all you will do is you'll take the card from this set and you can paste it into that set. Likewise, if you do not want a deck anymore, you can just delete the card set. Now what I'll do, like earlier, is I will put in some code I've pre-prepared. So I've added in a 50 Fathoms card deck, and you can see here is the definition for all the cards. So we have the name of the card, the displayed name of the card, the effect of the card, and the graphics location. So then the next thing to do is we need to define the adventure deck. Now the adventure deck creates the entries that will be registered into Fantasy Grounds for use, and so the adventure deck is a specified card set. So you can see the key is card set 1 and the description is my card set 1, and then the cards would be the card set 1 there, and whether they default to on or off. So yet again I will copy in an existing entry, but I only want one adventure deck, so I'll remove card set 2. Each adventure deck needs a unique key, so I've called this one FSTMS for 50 fathoms. The description is how it will be displayed is 50 fathoms, and the cards are the 50 fathoms cards, and I want these to default to on. The final part of the adventure deck.lua file we don't touch. This will actually register all the adventure decks listed above there, and again if you want multiple adventure decks you would just add them here, each one referencing a different card set. So we'll save that. The extension XML is where you would rename the extension. This is going to just display in Fantasy Grounds as my custom adventure deck. If you want to create separate adventure decks, you would have to modify this extension file. This can be found in other guides on how to write an extension XML file. So the final thing to do is we'll come into Fantasy Grounds, or load in the adventure deck, and then we should find my custom adventure deck down here. I'll hit start. I have an awful lot of modules and extensions, so it takes Fantasy Grounds for a while to start, so I'll pause until it loads. I've already left the adventure deck out. If we come into options, you can see I've already set the adventure deck to the desktop. And if we come down to the bottom, we can see that the 50 fathoms deck has 60 cards. They're included. It's normally recommended when you first load the game is to reset. As you can see there, it said there were 58 cards, when in fact there should be 60 in the deck. So now if we just drag a card out and pop it on there, we can see that we got rare spices and the description. And if we open up a character sheet, and we can move adventure deck cards onto there. Now what we haven't done is created a module. So if you double click on these cards, it will just tell you my custom adventure deck. This I will cover in another video, but I hope you find that informative and helpful. See you again soon. Thank you very much.